outstanding spot to talk about some outstanding players, some horses at 49ers OTAs. We're going to talk about 8 of them. But first, I want to couch this by saying that Bryce Huff, who was tremendously impressive last week, we got to see his get off, which is one of the fastest in the league. He is not going to be on this list. Why? Well, Nick Bosa has the best explanation.
It's not football yet.
That's right. The pads are not on yet, which means that football evaluation is going to have to stick to players at passing league positions. Nobody in their right minds is thrusting an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman to the top of such list. We can save that for training camp. So with that in mind, we'll begin, and we're going to begin in the defensive backfield with Jason Pinnock, who currently is replacing Jaire Brown, which reminds me that there's a little bit of news this morning. Jaire Alexander, the multiple-time Pro Bowler for the Green Bay Packers, is likely going to be released. He's played in only 14 games over the course of the past 2 seasons. A lot of different injuries, a lot of issues for Jaire Alexander, which means that the Packers do not find his salary, which is going to be about $17 million over the final 2 years of his contract, they do not find it to be worth it. They also apparently have not found a trade partner, so Alexander will likely be gone. I'm sure people are going to ask about a potential fit between Alexander and the 49ers, and to that I would say no, because San Francisco, they are young in that DB room. They've got a lot of promising and available players, and Jaire Alexander just does not fit that mold. Now, that being said, I do think that Jaire Alexander might fit with a DB desperate team. Obviously, the 49ers, at least at that cornerback position, are not DB desperate. Now, back to Jason Pinnock, who's one of our outstanding players so far at OTAs. He comes at a safety position where the 49ers do have a little bit more desperation. Jaire Brown is recovering from an ankle procedure. He's not going to be back until training camp. Malik Mustafa probably is going to be out for longer than then. He tore his ACL during the final game of the past regular season. So the 49ers have resorted to starting both of their veteran pickups of the offseason at the safety position. And one of those guys, Jason Pinnock, to me physically is a very, very impressive player. He's got prototypical safety height. He can jump 40 inches. He runs a sub 4.5 40. I mean, this is an athletic specimen whom Robert Saleh believes in, and that's been our key for so many of these 49ers defensive acquisitions. You have to remember that Robert Saleh was Pinnock's first coach back with the New York Jets. This is a guy who started 30-plus games at the NFL level. He's looked at home at that safety position over the course of OTAs. It's he and Richie Grant, who's another 49ers acquisition, picked up, and I think that they're not leaving anything to be desired of movement capability, especially Pinnock. So he's made my list. Now I can't wait to see if this guy can port his excellent passing league play to contact football, which is going to start at training camp. Then we move to the offensive side of the ball. Brock Purdy has to be on this list. He has come out sharp at OTAs. He's come out vocal at OTAs, just carrying over the leadership style that he really evolved into over the course of the past couple seasons. Well, now he's a paid leader for the 49ers. Now he's making, 50x the amount of money that he was making before. And it doesn't seem like he's changed, and that's exactly what the 49ers want. They want a centerpiece at the most important position, and they want that player to be delivering down in and down out. And I've got nothing but good play and good vibes from Brock Purdy. Jawan Jennings, total standout at OTAs. He's the best receiver on the 49ers roster until Brandon Ayuk comes back and reproves himself, and I think there's plenty of reproving there to do. Jawan Jennings has this position. There are only 2 targets on the 49ers last year who averaged over 2 yards per route run, which is generally considered the standard, especially at the wide receiver position, for efficiency. George Kittle was obviously one of those targets. He's delivered wide receivers like YPRR, yards per route run, throughout the course of his entire NFL career. But somebody who broke that 2-yard barrier last year was Jawan Jennings, and he's been gobbling up catches for the 49ers over the course of this spring. Just a tremendously skilled receiver. And Leonard Hankerson, the 49ers receivers coach, said that he thinks that Juwan's ready to take yet another step here in the 2025 season. Then there's Christian McCaffrey. Just turned 29, made an entire video about Christian and his 29th birthday and defying age. And we do have to say that he's been one of the most outstanding players on the practice field for San Francisco. The burst is there, right? The bounciness is there. It's the first thing that essentially everybody noticed when we took the practice field at San Francisco to watch these OTAs is that, oh, that's what a healthy Christian McCaffrey looks like. There's the all-pro version, the future Hall of Fame version of a player who can truly move, who looks different while moving because he's got that elasticity on the field. So Christian McCaffrey has absolutely impressed so far in these OTAs. One player that it's not going to be one of the 8 players, but somebody that I should mention is Jordan James, the 49ers running back. I haven't seen enough of Jordan James to crown him on one of these lists, but I have seen a few runs, and I've seen him up close now with the combination of his physicality. I talked about the powerful thighs and his burst, which, again, is more impressive than his relative athletic score, which leads you to believe. I do think that Jordan James has the physical tools to successfully take over that Jordan Mason role for the 49ers, but the rest is going to be TBD, to be determined at training camp. 2 receivers, Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing, but both of these guys are going to count amongst the 8 outstanding players. Jordan Watkins, I mean, any receiver who can step in, I don't care who's out at that practice, if you could step in and look decently comfortable in this system at OTAs, you are doing something right. So Jordan Watkins, rookie receiver out of Ole Miss, we're excited to see him when the pads come on to see how well he can block. And, you know, I think when the pads do come on at training camp, Jacob Cowing is going to have a lot to prove. He is more muscled up. He was only 168 pounds last year, but he's already drawn some rave reviews from George Kittle. He made a nice catch on an out pattern, almost like a one-handed catch from Mac Jones. He's made several catches. Maybe that offseason work with Purdy and Ricky Pearsall over in Jacksonville is paying off for Jacob Cowing. And then there is the linebacker position, Nick Martin and D. Winters. Martin has been flying around the field. I love the way that this guy is built and that he's got the long arms, evocative of Dre Greenlaw's long arms, but he's a little bit lighter to the point where he might even be able to move a little bit better than Dre Greenlaw. This linebacker position has evolved so much. I mean, talk about glorified defensive backs, and I think that's an accurate descriptor now. Well, Nick Martin so far, before we get into contact football, before we see truly how well some of these guys can defend the run, he has passed the first test with flying colors. And he's going to need to if he wants to start for this football team, especially if he wants to grab that second linebacker spot, because I think that early indications are that D. Winters is not going to relinquish that easily. You talk to the 49ers coaches, especially Johnny Holland, he'll say that D has made one of the biggest year 2 to year 3 jumps that he's seen while he's coaching the 49ers, and we already know that D can really move and he can really cover. So San Francisco's a team which needs a very solid competition at the linebacker spot, and I think they're going to get it. I think that's going to be the marquee event of training camp. The battle for linebacker 2 behind Fred Warner between D. Winters and Nick Martin. A very meaty battle, if you will. You can see the meat roasting here. They've got the pork in Prague at Old Town Square. Prague was, especially compared to most big European cities, survived World War II extremely intact. And there was only one area in the middle of town that was hit by a bomber, and it was the right side of this building. You could see this building just abruptly ending. That's because an American bomber mistook Prague for Dresden when they were firebombing Dresden and hit what used to be right here. But fortunately, the beautiful clock tower stayed in place here in Prague. So everything is beautifully preserved, beautifully colorful, and a great place to visit. There's your look at 8 outstanding 49ers players at OTAs.